let's do one last of these, then we'll get out of Dodge here. So there's the function. We have f of x is tangent x minus pi over 2. I want to do a horizontal shift with one of these to make sure we're sort of all on the same page. So there is a shift. It's a horizontal shift. Remember that on the horizontal shift, negative is to the right, positive is to the left. So we have x minus pi over 2. And so that is shift to the right, pi over 2. The amplitude, well, remember tangent and cotangent, we're not concerned with amplitude. So for our purposes, I will always have amplitude being 1. That's not going to be an issue for us. Then the interval, we need the shape. What's the basic shape of tangent? So it's that picture, right? But now we have the interval. This is the key. The interval, we take the standard interval for tangent. Now the standard interval for tangent is not 0 to 2 pi. The standard interval for tangent, let me adjust. The standard interval for tangent is from negative pi over 2 to pi over 2. Remember, you don't use the or equal to's because there are asymptotes there. If this were cotangent, you would not use this. You would use 0 to pi. Whatever the standard interval, that's the reason you must have the basic shapes in your mind so that you know the information you're drawing from to be able to make these pictures accurately. So, the interval is here, but in the middle, what do we put? We put this argument. Whatever is in the parenthesis goes in the middle here. So this is x minus pi over 2. And then the task is to solve for x in the middle. Well, how do you get rid of subtract pi over 2? I think you add pi over 2, but you have to add pi over 2 everywhere. What does that produce? Negative pi over 2, positive pi over 2, is it clear? That's 0. Those cancel. Pi over 2 plus pi over 2 is pi. So this is no longer the standard interval because we no longer have the basic shape function. We have shifted, and so this is the interval we're graphing over. I'll put this over here. So our interval goes from 0. Here's pi over 2. There's pi. Remember, for tangent and cotangent, I am not concerned with the vertical scale. For tangent and cotangent, we're not concerned with the vertical scale. Asymptotes go at 0 to pi, or 0 and pi. And then this picture goes between those two asymptotes. That's not too much of a challenge. That will be sufficient for our cause. So there's the graph of the tangent of x minus pi over 2 function.